true for respect. Play true for fairness, for inclusion, with pride, with courage, for sport, for equity, for community. Play true for life. So many reasons to play true. What's yours?
Good.
So here we go. It is the final ultimate day of these World Powerlifting World Championships. Hope all is good with you, and it is team event day. It's a long day. It is the longest day. It means it's the earliest start as well. So if you've already joined us, I always wonder about people who tune in really early.
Representing Australia.
What is it that you're expecting to see? Anyway, greetings. You're more than welcome being here. We're going on for something like the next 12 hours. Mixed team event will wrap up the competition. The women's before that. And right at the start, it is the men's team event.
Representing Australia is
so there is as usual, a group stage in this, but it is a different group stage this time because we have 4 groups. So it's getting more and more like a football World Cup as we go on.
Also in Group D,
I just like the football World Cup.
Representing Colombia, number 2, Johnny Andreas Morales, Juvar Mondragon.
So we've got 14 nations who are represented.
And Colombia, number 1, is also in Group D. It's made up of Brian
4
Valenta,
groups, 2 groups of 4,
Francisco
and 2 groups of
Palacios,
3.
And Eglein Mena. That's Colombia 2, Colombia 1. Australia, Chile 2, Colombia 2, and Colombia 1 are part of.
And we then progress into the knockout stages as usual. So you may remember it used to be all one group stage previously, and that the top qualifiers from that would move on. Well, now we have a situation where those groups are divided up. So I'll just quickly run through. We're going to have an introduction of athletes very soon. I'll just run through who the various groups are. We'll start off with Group A, which is Chile 1, Ukraine and China. Here are the groups. And we are starting logically, of course, with Group D. It is Chile 2. I think a few things have happened there overnight that are probably going to be on the news. Chile 2, oh, well, never mind. Australia are there as well, and Colombia 1 and 2 as well as that. Group C will be Cuba, Saudi Arabia 2, Uzbekistan and France. Group B will be Saudi Arabia 1, Libya and Iraq, and Group A will be China 1, Ukraine, and Chile. So as you've seen, Colombia 1 featuring Brian Valenta, Eglein Mena and Francisco Palameque. Same format, points system. And the top scorers in the group will progress. Colombia 2, Johnny Morales, Fabio Torres, and Uwe Mondragon. Colombia 2, like Colombia 1, are in Group D. It is an entirely random draw.
it's time for us to select our technical officials for the field of play.
And there will be a referee's draw per round as well, as usual.
Behind the big stage, we'll choose our refs for the field of play.
I can see Australia here as well. Pare Mutaris, great result in the Legends yesterday. Ben Wright is in that team. Top 10 finish for him. He was going so well as well in the total lift. Paul Tesoriero, also great display there. So here are our referees for this opening section. And we'll be seeing them shortly. So very good morning from Will Downing, and here as usual for the week has been Mary Hodge.
Good morning, everybody, and it's our last day here. Excited to be seeing the teams and then off on our way home. It's been an exciting week.
14 teams participating.
So in terms of the team competition, how have you always approached this?
I'll be honest, in the U.S. we only entered teams one time, and that was last year at the America's Championships. It's really a fiscal issue for the country, so they don't typically stay this long. And you'll note quite a few countries have left already from this championships, and it's usually a fiscal issue. And really, in the U.S., we just submitted people just to have fun and see what it was like. We were knocked out in the first round. But we submitted a men's team, and they really had a lot of fun. What we did was we just looked at who had lifted earlier in the week and was rejuvenated and really ready to go. We did not choose someone that had lifted the day prior, because usually that's really tough to come back and compete again the next day. Really depends on the lifter, though, and how much they have left in the tank.
Please welcome Chief Referee Ileana Araka, Greece. Please welcome left side referee, representing Malaysia, Norcia Mohammed. And right side referee, Yemen, Mohammed El-Kersh.
So as you can see, our referees for Group A, Chief Referee Ileana Araka, the left side referee Norcia Mohammed of Malaysia, and the right side referee Mohammed El-Kersh of Yemen, technical controller Priya Nikate, and the technical delegate Fatih Shahab of Libya.
Ileana Araka is our chief. Norcia.
Yep, those are the referees who are coming on stage for this Group A. And was this just the target being, let's have a little bit of fun today, or was it being treated very seriously as another set of medals?
I think it depends on the country, Will. I think there are some countries that are going to take it seriously. I think everyone should take it seriously. It's a pretty new innovation, and so I think countries are still feeling their way and figuring it out. In the U.S., I believe that's what's going on, and as you see, there are some countries that have never entered it. I wonder if at some point in time this would like to be part of the Paralympic Games, and the fact that it's at a World Championships is great. I think it's really great for the athletes. It's nice to work together for an ultimate goal. Powerlifting is really an individual sport. Whether you train together or not, at the end of the day, when you're leading towards Paralympic Games, there can be only one per country, per bodyweight class, per gender. And so it's really nice to be able to have developed something that's a team.
So let's take a look at Group D. This is Chile 2, Australia, Colombia 1, and Colombia 2. Brian Bustos, Matheus Revecchio, Jonathan Astudillo for Chile 2. For Australia, Pare Mutaris, Paul Tesoriero, and Ben Wright. I would say all satisfied with how they've done yesterday. They all competed yesterday for Colombia 1, it is Brian Balanza, Francisco Palameke, Aglayan Mania, and you saw the other Colombian team. So here we go. It's Pari Mutaras who's coming here for Australia. And he's going for 115. So we are starting with Group D. And it is Pari Mutaras who's going to go first. And of course, this is all done on a points basis. So Legends total medal for Pari yesterday. And he is attempting to lift 115, which is, well, you can see what it's the equivalent of, apparently.
So, as he did yesterday, getting strapped in, getting wrist wraps nice and tight. They'll take that thumb piece off because that is not allowed any longer, and he's going to get ready to go.
So this is going to be worth 71.79 points. And Pari Mutaras, who's been involved in quite a few sports, and he still holds a few Australian indoor rowing records, which I'm always impressed by people who can excel in more than one sport. And he's come away from here with a World Championship medal as well in the Legends. Simon Bagda is his coach. So 71.79 up for grabs. No, I'm afraid it's 3 red flags, and that time against Pari Mutaras. That's slight shame. Ooh, and tell you what, you only get 1 attempt, of course, per competition, so he's not coming back.
He just hits the left up and then the right, keeping in mind that he just lifted heavy yesterday. He's fatigued, really trying to come back quickly, less than 24 hours, regroup, and get a technically accurate lift is a lot to ask. He is a strong fella. He just needs some rest, and that would have been a much better technically accurate lift if he had had a little bit more time. Some can dig deep and do it, some cannot.
Brian Bustos now. And because he comes from a lighter weight division, his points tally is going to be a little bit higher. So where Pari Mutaras was going for 71.8, it's going to be 76.188 for Brian Bustos. And that is a good lift. 76.188. So reminder, all the scores added up at the end of this round, and once everybody has had 1 lift each, you're only allowed 1 lift per individual, and it is the accumulated scores, the top scorers who go through, which in the case of any sport you've ever seen, that's how it works.
That was really nicely done. Straight down, nice and tight on the chest, and straight up. Really nicely done, keeping in mind he's had a few days rest now since he competed, so he's rejuvenated. His muscles get a chance to get rid of all that extra lactic acid that's built up, and he's ready to go.
Representing Team Colombia number 2, Johnny Morales Gonzalez.
So Colombia 2, and it is Johnny Morales, who's coming now. He's going for a tally of what is just about precisely 124 and a quarter. That is a big weight.
Getting strapped in, tightening his weight belt, just getting prepared and ready.
So here he is pushing through at 145. This will be a nice significant lead, which it is. It's 2-1 in his favor for Colombia 2. 124 for them, 76 for Chile 2, and unfortunately Australia did not make it previously.
That was a really pretty lift, straight down, locked out, drive straight up. He did get one red on the bench press. Proper, straight up, and so probably he touches the right a little faster than the left, and that's where he got that one red light. Either way, 2 whites, and he's through.
Well, now another belting campaigner. Another man who everybody loves to see. Ryan Balanta going for 175. This is going to be worth 128.075.
1 minute.
Well, he's given that a really good tilt, and that is undeniably a good lift. So at the end of the opening round, Colombia 1, 128, Colombia 2, 124, Chile 2, 76, and Australia unfortunately did not score.
That was an absolutely perfect lift. Straight down, locked out, drives it straight up, racks it out. Beautiful.
And Australia is yet to be up on the board. Lookers, please.
So that's one round of lifts done.
Rack height 16.
From a coach's vantage point, I think the theme here is not so much lifting the heaviest amount of weight, but lifting a weight you know you can get.
Thank you to Marty Floated representing Australia.
Paul Tesoriero going for 140, and lovely to see him perform so well yesterday. He hadn't been in a world championship for a good few years. But he came back, he got his lifts in. It says a lot that I think these three in particular, because they're the three most recent participants for Australia, all competed in back-to-back finals yesterday. I'm pretty sure achieved all their targets they were looking for. Really impressive finishes. And Paul Tessiero's family were here. And to be honest with you, this arena today, they surely are again. So he's going for 94.44. Well, tell you what, they need this, and then just hope that there's a bit of a slip up by some of the other nations. So Tesoriero, we're going to go to the flags anyway, so keep them peeled. Oh, that's two reds. So what that means is that whatever slim chance Australia had has slipped away. But in terms of the individual competition, which frankly is the priority, he was sensational.
Comes down, double bounces on the chest. I think this is where he got his red right there. Drives straight up. He does luck out evenly, so it must have been the chest sequence.
It's a pity, but at least the two who've missed for Australia will go home with very impressive results. The thing about Paul Tesoriero, and the unfortunate thing is that because of this, it is one and done. It's really impressed, I have to say, that he's playing league cricket in Australia as well. Matías Reveco coming here for Chile, and he's looking for a lift of 150. Slightly lighter body weight as well, which helps him in terms of the coefficient, and that's worth 103 points.
No lift.
Go
Press
to the lights. It's press sequence all three again, so he doesn't get it either. So there's an irony there. Had Australia got the second lift in, they'd be ahead of Chile too now. Comes the brakes.
And if you look on the great on the descent, nice on the chest, and then he goes awry, he hits the rack on the left side on the way up, and that, as we know, is definitely a no lift. You cannot hit the rack. That's unfortunately, he was just too close on his ascent. He needed to have been further off his chest so that he could drive it straight up and not hit the rack.
That is a slight slip up from a Chilean point of view. Uwe Mondragon of Colombia. $180, his big target. $114.65.
Nice hyper extension, getting that chest all the way up to that bar, especially this late in the competition. The less distance you have to move, the better.
So 180. This will be worth a total of 114. That is a good lift. It's 3 out of 3. The way the situation is right now, it's actually academic giving a running total because Australia and Chile too have both missed. The two Colombian sides have not. And should it stay like that, and there's no reason why it would change, then they are home and hosed.
Just perfect. Straight down, locked out, drives it straight up, locks it out. No questions asked. Perfect lift. Nicely done.
So with the group winners to progress, it is a straight Colombian shootout. $119 points this is worth. So they would go up to 247.4. And they would lead the other Colombian team by about 9. So Paralympic. That is a good lift. Colombia 1 are in control over Colombia 2. And they lead after 2 rounds of lifts with 1 more to go. And Australia and Chile can no longer win the group.
Great job. Straight down, locks it out on the chest, straight up. And when he sits up, he says, whew. So he worked hard. Great job.
Third attempt still to come. Voters, 165 kilos. Rack 13, 165.
So Colombia 1 are well clear at the moment, well clear being 9 points. So Jonathan Astudillo, his attempt worth 165 kilos.
Thank you, the bar is loaded. Chile 2, Jonathan Astudillo.
107.77. So all he can do is get the lift through, but it is now beyond them. This 107.77, so if he completes this, they're on 183, and already the 2 Colombian teams belong them. This is where we come to the ifs and buts. If they'd got the middle lift, he'd be going now for 287, and the 2 Colombian sides would be needing to lifting through. Remember, it's the group winners that go through only. And that is another good lift. Well, they've given this a really good roll. And Chile This is Chile 2, remember. Go on to 183.96.
That was really, really nice. He does get one red on the right side. I believe it's because his arm was kind of quivering and maybe shaking back and forth. Not really sure. Either way, 2 white lights and he moves on. Nice job.
Ben Wright, after his top 10 finish and it needing the last 2 lifts, only the last 2 lifts of the entire competition for him to be knocked out of the total lift medals. When in the World Championship, he's now in the top 10 in the world. And that is a magnificent result. After all those World Championships and steadily improving Oceania records, and in the last Asia Oceania Championships now being honoured as being the Oceania champion as well, which has its own proper deserved significance. So this to get a score on the board for Australia, it's worth 120.83. Well, I'll tell you what, he's given that a good go. Ben, we'll see if he gets it on the press, and he has not. All 3 on the press. But they've gone for it. Maybe they felt on each lift they had to go for it, and didn't get the 3 lifts in. But individually, this has been a great championships for Australia.
Right off the chest, he slows down and then he just kind of ladders up, down, up, down. That's unfortunate. Again, a lot of it is fatigue from just having lifted so heavy yesterday. On another day, he would have gotten that with ease. Nice try, though. Good on Team Australia for trying.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Team Colombia number 2, Fabio Torres.
So Fabio Torres is coming through for Colombia 2, and it is a straight shootout now to see who will win the group. There's the combined score, 238 for now, and Fabio Torres is going for a lift of 215. This will be worth 130 points. And this to round off with a score of 369.
Doing a couple of squats there on the side of the bench to get his blood moving, get pumped up before he gets strapped in.
So 369 to take the lead, and Colombia 1 would then have to lift and complete themselves in order to try and slip past. It's going to be tight. There's only going to be about 2 points between them if the 2 lifts are successful, but it is not, and Colombia 1 have won the group even before their last lift. It has not worked out, and Colombia have won the group already.
And that's unfortunate. It was really a good-looking lift just until the very end. Nice and tight on the chest, straight up, and he locks out with the left before the right. Also, I'm sure fatigued from yesterday's lifting. Just really nice until the very last few seconds. Unfortunate, but nice job, Fabio.
Well, what a position of comfort Egline Mena has. In that they have won before his last lift.
Getting strapped in as he's getting prepared.
So what a tremendous position of comfort for lift of 215 for Egline Mena. They've already won this group. This is worth 124. Good lift it is by Egline Mena. And that is 3 out of 3 for Colombia 1, and they have won the group with a score of 371.1.
Let's introduce the athletes for Group C. Group C is comprised of Cuba 1, involving Emmanuel Gonzalez Rodriguez.
So the final score of Group D, Colombia 1, 372. Colombia 2, 238. Chile 2, 183. And Australia didn't score. So Colombia 1 progress out of Group D. And it's funny, in the history of this team competition, we've not seen a situation where we've had so many misses before. So I think the group dynamic is a bit snappier and a bit more cutthroat. As a result of that, I think maybe we've seen teams go a bit higher than they usually would have done in terms of the team competition. They've not wanted to let their teammates down. As a result of that, won't have gone for lifts as high as in their individual competition. But I actually have a suspicion that we saw a lot of that there. Interesting. That was Group D. Next should be Group C. We'll be back with you shortly.
introducing you to Team Cuba. Team Cuba is comprised of 3 athletes: Emmanuel Gonzalez Rodriguez. Also with Team Cuba, Jesus Enrique Cuevas Cisneros.
We're moving on to Group C.
Jesus Drake Vega. Our next team will be Team Saudi Arabia, number 2. Team Saudi Arabia, number 2, is comprised of
Cuba, Saudi Arabia 2, Uzbekistan and France. This is Saudi Arabia 2, Abada Sawi, Tariq Balgev, Talal Al-Balawi.
Team Saudi Arabia, number 2. Also in Heat C is Team Uzbekistan. Team Uzbekistan. They're made up of Sanjar Oloberganov.
Uzbekistan, Yashinbek Oltiev, Sanjar Oloberganov and Kuznadin Uzmanov.
And Yashinbek Oltayev. Our 4th team in Group C is going to be made up of athletes from France. Rafik Erabat, Julien Yvon Boumet Bissolati, and
France
Alex Adelaide.
with Alex Adelaide, Julien Avon-Boumet and Rafik Arabat. Alex Adelaide will be used to relay competitions. He was involved in them as a wheelchair racer for France.
Spotter loaders, if you could do 140, 140 rack 3. Look at
Same situation, it is the group winners who will progress.
That may change. 140 rack 3, please.
So with these warm-ups, after such an extensive week, most of the athletes aren't really going to 80 to 90%. They're just getting their bodies warmed up enough. They're not hitting huge heavy weights, most of them. They're just trying to be sure they can get out and execute properly and get those points for their team. So it works a little bit different in warm-up here.
Right side referee, Colombia, Yeni Ortiz Cardenas. Left side referee, Republic of Korea, Eugene Lee. Our technical controller is
So the Group A referees, center referee, Jari Laine of Finland.
Referees, please take your position.
Left side referee for Korea, Lee Eugene.
Ortiz Cardenas, right.
And Priya
Eugene Lee,
Nakate is the technical controller for this final. Annie Ortiz is the right side referee.
Group C starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. The bar is loaded 140 kilos. Calling our first athlete representing Cuba, Emmanuel Gonzalez Rodriguez.
So a reminder, Cuba, Saudi Arabia 2, Uzbekistan and France are in this. Group winners going through only. $123.39 this is worth.
strapped in, getting ready, gonna lock up that weight belt, and he'll be ready to go.
1 minute.
Originally looking for 130, and now going for 140, which is an interesting one. Manuel Gonzalez, 140 was his middle lift in his 49 kilo final, and that is a good lift.
That was absolutely perfect. Straight down, locked on the chest, drives it straight back up, locks it out. Absolutely perfect.
Good lift. So that's Cuba in front, but that is lift one. Long way to go, but he did really well in pushing that through.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Mars Loaded, representing Saudi Arabia, Asil Al-Sawi.
So for Saudi Arabia, 2, this is Asil Al-Asawi, who's going for a lift of 150. $102.97 is what is being sought here.
So he's strapped in, just getting his mental focus, just about ready.
Yes, Saudi Arabia. This is Al-Asawi. If he gets this 102.97. And that is a good lift. So Al-Asawi successful. And that's a very, very decent result for him. And you can see it kind of puts them in contention anyway, in the hunt to try and win this group.
Really nice attempt, straight down, locked out on the chest, drives it straight up, and locks it out. Did get one red on the side, but the 2 white punch him through. Nicely done.
Sanjar Olabraganov coming in for 155. And he's looking for a points tally of 112.54. Well, this would nestle them neatly between Cuba and Saudi Arabia early on. He went up to 170. as a lifetime best with his middle lift in his individual competition. So this 155, always they will go for something a lot more manageable and not so much go for broke, although as I say, we saw a lot more of it in the previous group. I wonder if we will here. Again, don't worry about it going across his body, because that's fine. And that is a good lift. 112 and a half. Oloberganov puts Uzbekistan into second place with this opening round of lifts.
Really nicely done, and what great setup he had. Head, shoulders, buttocks, legs, completely in tune with the bench. Big high chest, big back, just beautiful. Brings it down, locks it out on the chest, drives it straight up. Really perfect lift. Nicely done.
Representing France, Rafik Arabat.
So Rafik Arabat, the multiple European Championship medalist. And again, remember, he's not a man who likes to come onto music, which they can request. Or in this case, not request. 121.3. So we'll see them go reasonably close to Cuba, go within 2 points of them. Then it's down to what Julien Avon-Mboume and Alex Adelaide go for. If they can get their lifts in, Cuba will have Jesus, Cuevas and Onega Drake to come. And this is the second group of 4 that we're watching.
One minute.
So 200. He actually started around this amount in his final. And that is a good lift, and it's 2-1 in his favor. Actually, he was originally looking at 205, and had he gone for that, then France would now be in front.
That was a really nice attempt. He did get a red on stop, and he got a little bit away with an uneven lockout there on the left side. He definitely hit a little after the right. Either way, he gets 2 whites and he moves on straight down. Probably a little fast on the chest and locked out. Nice job.
Thank you, the bar is loaded. Saudi Arabia, Tarek Balghi.
Tarek Balghi coming now for Saudi Arabia. 135 kilos is the target. Remember, we are going up in terms of weight on a lift-by-lift basis per round. So this is worth 92.67.
Strapped in and just about ready to go.
That is a good lift.
Saudi Arabia.
So, Tarek Balgith for Saudi Arabia. Tremendously successful. They, with the first lift of this second round, have set a standard for the rest to follow.
That was absolutely perfect, that lift. There is nothing that could have changed on that lift. He did a really great straight down, locked out, straight up. Even though the movement was fast, there was a discernible stop between the descent and the ascent, and he moves on. Nicely done.
So 106.99 this is worth for Julien Avon-Boumet. $165 kilos, 106.99, so let's just say 107 for now, and that will put him up to 228. It's not a bad tally after two lifts in this. This is a lot closer. This is a lot more competitive in a way that you can't quite be certain who's going to win this. Now that is a good lift for France. Julien Avon-Boumet, European medalist, gets the lift in, and France are 2 out of 2.
Another absolutely perfect attempt. Straight down, holds it tight, straight up, locks it out. I mean, this is just unreal, especially with the amount of fatigue that these men are feeling. Just fantastic lifting.
The bar is loaded. Representing Cuba, Jesus Enrique Cuevas Cisneros.
Jesus Cuevas for Cuba, going for 175. So that's where Cuba are right now. They're third in the table. If he gets this, it's worth 122 points. They would go to 245, so this is very significant. So, an important one, definitely an important one. Give Cuba additional control in this group. And they have it. Obviously, they'll still need to get their last lift in, but they're in a good position now. They'll move up into the lead. Uzbekistan will be the last to lift in this round.
That was absolutely perfect. Another absolutely perfect attempt. Straight down, nice and tight on the chest. Blows it straight up, locks it out. Really nice.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Pakistan, Husnadin Usmanov.
So Uzbekistan now with Husnadin Usmanov. So he scored 112 through Ola Berganov, and with Usmanov here, they're looking for 122.40. So they go on to 235. They go between Cuba and France here. So France, despite getting both lifts in, have lost a bit of ground actually. So this to move them up into second position.
Good lift.
There you go. We haven't had a miss yet.
That concludes round 2.
Really nicely done, just perfect. Straight down, tight on the chest, locks it back up, nicely done. Makes fast work of it, but good.
Just a few back from that, 6 points. France, 228.36, and then Saudi Arabia 2, 195.38. Please slow the bar to 135 kilos.
Yep, that's all that they could have asked to do. And Uzbekistan are 10 points away from Cuba. France are 17 points down right now. Well, they will need to go high. I think that's pretty obvious at this stage. We wrap up for Saudi Arabia with Abada Hassawi. Moving on now, on 135, this is their last lift. This will be worth 98 points. There have been quite a few debuting nations in this competition, which is always really good to see. We've got into the appropriate spirit of it. And this to wrap up with 293. So it would put Saudi Arabia in front, everybody else with a lift in hand. Oh well.
Stop sequence.
Stop sequence from the left and center referees, and they miss out on going top. And I was going to say, with them going top, it would be nearly an impossibility that they would stay there, but they're not there anyway, so oh well. Didn't get it, and that's that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Straight down, and he's just really fast off the chest, and then he actually goes back towards the rack as he's driving up. Nice try, just not enough in the tank today.
Alex Adelaide coming out now for 142. This is where they are. Obviously, they get the chance to go in front for a bit as well, but they've lost a bit of ground in the past couple of rounds. This is going to be worth 98 points. Basically, they're setting a standard, looking for the rest to overtake them, essentially. We're inviting them, well. Gonna have to lift out in order to do it.
One minute.
So Alex Adelaide, 142. Remember, the lifts per team don't have to go up in ascending order. You pick whatever order you like, and then it's on a round-by-round basis the lifts go up, and he has got that. It is a good lift, so it's as simple as this. The other two teams now have to lift through in order to overtake.
Really nice.
With the lead over Cuba is now over 100 points, by the way, interestingly.
Really nice attempt, straight down, nice and tight on the chest, straight up, just well done.
176 kilos. Omega, Jesus Drake Vega, Team Cuba.
Alex Adelaide coming out with an impressive lift. So look at that lead now. Well, I'll tell you what, that last lift was worth 123 points. So the heat is on. So Onega Drake, America's champion, a regular major championship medalist, has to get this. 114 points this is worth.
And Will, just so the audience understands, is it a calculation of how the points are created per lift?
Yeah, it's done on points. It's the coefficient, but it's a points system. Yep.
Coefficient, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
So Onega Drake, 176, worth 114 points.
Good lift, Drake Vega,
And this to give Cuba the lead and to move it on to 360. And they overtake France. And that's setting it up that if Uzbekistan are going to overtake them, it has to be a huge lift.
183, rack 15.
That was just a perfect lift, straight down, tight on the chest, rocks it straight up. Even though he slows down, he keeps moving and locks it out. Really nicely done.
Yasin Bey.
So Altiev going for 183 kilos. It's kind of topping out from what he has done previously. This is going to be worth 125. So this would set them up to 359 and bits. So first of all, get the lift in. That's the important thing. That's what the scoreline is. It's 125.3, and I would calculate if he gets this, they will have won the group by 0.1, but it is a red flag. That would have won it for Uzbekistan by 0.1. And they went high. They had to go high.
Press sequence.
It was the press sequence. It went to the flags, and they finish on 234.95.
Yeah, and if you look at the chest, it was messy. He's down, he rocks on the chest, he comes out, locks out unevenly, is up and back and forth on the way up. It just was too much weight for him to lift today. Well, that's unfortunate.
Uzbekistan 234.95 and Saudi Arabia finishes with
If that had been a successful lift for Uzbekistan, they'd have had 360.25. They'd have won it by 0.16. Well, it's Cuba who win the group, France second, Uzbekistan. That is a proper definition of a valiant effort, because they have gone way beyond the call of duty in order to try and get the win in the group. They have just missed out, but that was immensely brave. That was a really, really worthy try. Now, they missed it. Cuba win the group. You don't get much in life without taking a risk, and they did take the risk, and it didn't work out. So onwards we go. We have had the first two groups. Victory in Group D going to Colombia 1. And in Group C there, quite dramatically at the end actually, to Cuba. Decided on the last lift. So the last two groups we're going to see, which are Groups B and A, have got 3 teams in them. Saudi Arabia, Libya and Iraq are all together in this group. So Saudi Arabia with Adnan Nur Saeed, Talal Al-Balawi and Ibrahim Mustafa. Iraq with Muslim Al-Sadani, Ahmed Al-Kaki and Rasul Mohsin. And Libya with Mosab Gassala, Abdul Razik Al-Bayaba, and Ibrahim Otman.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the men's team event. Each phase, Group B, we have 3 teams participating. Team number 1, representing Saudi Arabia, Adnan Nur Saeed, Talal Al-Galawi, and Ibrahim Mustafa. Also participating, we've got
Saudi Arabia there, Ibrahim Mustafa, Adnan Nur Saeed, Asil Al-Azawi are there 3 in this.
And Ibrahim Othman. Our 13 in Group B.
Libya, Abdul Razik Al-Bayaba,
Is Team Iran, made up of
Musab Gassala and Ibrahim Otman, and with Iraq, Rasul Mohsin, Ahmed Al-Kaki and Muslim Al-Sadani.
and Rasul Mohsin. These are the 3 teams. Saudi Arabia, 1. Libya, 2. And Iraq also participating. Time for us to choose our referees for the field of play for this session. Our chief referee. Our chief referee, if we could get Norcia Mohammed, Jenny Ortiz Cardenas, and Natalia Sihai to the stage. Norcia Mohammed.
So here are our referees for Group B. Sia Mohammed will be the centre referee, and Ortiz the left side referee, and Natalia Tiskai the right side referee. Priya Kanakate is the technical controller of this final, and that will be the order of say.
Our technical delegate, Livia Fadila. Rack 5, 150 kilos, please. Rack 5, 150 kilos.
This is what Group B looks like: Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and Libya.
Thank you, the bar is loaded. Representing Saudi Arabia, Team 1, Adnan Nur Saeed.
So Adnan Nur Saeed will be the first to go for Saudi Arabia. This is going to be worth 121 points.
He shows his extension to the referees to ensure they know he cannot lock out completely.
So 150 is what he peaked at in his individual final. So
1 minute.
he is going big here. 156 he subsequently went with and did not get. the Asian Youth Games champion. He still is 6th in the Asia Oceania Championships last year. So for 121 points, that is a good lift.
Majority decision, no Saeed. Floaters, please, 155 kilos. Rack height 7, 155, rack 7.
And that was really a great lift. Nice and tight on the way down. Held it on the chest. One of the referees felt like he did not stop long enough, so the one red, and drives it straight up and locks it out. Really nicely done. 2 whites, and they move on.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Iraq.
Well, that's a nice start. Next up for Iraq, Muslim Al-Sadani, who's looking for 155. 131.37. This is worth for him. This would be a slight margin in his favor. Let's see how close it was last time. Immensely close. That Uzbekistan in the previous group were trying to grab victory by 1/10 of a point. Had they got the last lift in, they didn't. And that is a good lift, 155 kilos for 131 points.
And just some incredible competitors all week, but particularly today on this last day where everyone's fatigued, they're tired, and just to come in here and get these excellent lifts, some of them are as amazing, straight up, locks it out, just great.
Musab Garsala going for 160, and because of his body weight, which is on a bit, as you'll see, this is worth 102 points. Went as high as 172 as an individual final, and high in terms of the final total, 507. Just high up in that for a considerable amount of time.
One minute. No lift.
Oh dear, it's not got it.
Loaders, please. It will likely be 81 kilos.
Well, Libya are in a spot of bother. That score's not going to come up alongside them this time. It is no lift.
So he shifts the bar on his chest, and then on the way up he locks out on the left before the right. That's unfortunate because to the naked eye it looked like a good attempt, but when you watch the replay you can see the errors. Unfortunate.
Loaders, 81 kilos. Rack 4, please. Thank you. The bar is ready. Representing Saudi Arabia Team 1, Talal Al-Dalawi.
So now Saudi Arabia, Talal Al-Balawi is going for a lift of 81. This is going to be worth just about 77 points, 76.93 to Saudi Arabia. Gets this. They're moving up to just approximately 198. Al-Balawi ready. He's got it. Good lift. 3 white lights. Talal Al-Balawi. Oh, he's pulled it off well, this young man. The 16-year-old from the rookie competitions over a week ago.
Straight down, locks it out, and straight up. A little faster on the chest, but enough to have a good stop in between. Great work.
Thank you. The bar is loaded, 130 kilos. Representing Libya, Abdul Razik Al-Baba.
Al-Baba going for 130. .22. They're in the unfortunate position of having missed their opening attempt. And that is a good lift by Al-Baba. By the way, they've reweighed everybody again ahead of this competition. You might think, well, why on earth would they do that? Well, Al-Baba was in the 80 kilo final. He's now, as you saw, above 80 kilos in weight by almost a kilo. So he's in a different weight grouping now. 85.22 picked up, so at least they're on the board now. Iraq through Ahmed Al-Kaki going for 175. This is worth 127.566. 127.5. If it gets this, he goes up to about 259 points. I'll still need to get the last lift in through Rasul Mosen, but it will take the pressure off. He could actually go quite light, and still they would get through. Saudi Arabia's targets have been a little bit lighter in terms of points in comparison. Doesn't matter about lightness of weight, it's about what points result comes out when you put it through the number cruncher. He's crunching the numbers very well, Ahmed Al-Karki. 258 points they have, and they are on the way through.
That was simply beautiful. Straight down, locked out on the chest. Straight up, just nice and clean. Perfect.
76 points from Al-Malawi. 85-23 is a contribution from Abdul Razif to Team Libya. And that
Really nice setup. Really high chest. Really nicely done.
Floaters, rack height 14, 130 kilos. Rack 14, 130 kilos, please.
Well, it is control for Iraq going into the final round. They lose 258.9. Saudi Arabia second, 198.2. Libya third on 85.
Abraham Othman.
So now Libya, well, all they can do is get their final lift in through Abraham Othman and just complete the competition, fulfill their lifts and try and amass as many points as they can. So close on 90 points for Libya here, and they will stay in third no matter what. But at least they'll have got 2 lifts out of 3, which is something at least. If they'd have got all of their scores in, they would now be on 277, and they would obviously be forcing Saudi Arabia and Iraq to have to get the last lifts in, which is the beauty of the competition, but they did not get that, sadly.
Really nice, great setup, high chest, big back, directly down on the chest, holds it tight, drives it straight up and locks it out. Really nice job.
Ibrahim Mustafa going for 151, so this is where it all comes down to the crunch.
Getting his mental together, tightening those wrist straps, making sure he's prepared.
Yeah, 107 points this is worth. .73. So if he gets this, it will be worth 306 or thereabouts. And Iraq will still have a lift to go, which will be the decider. .147 was his heaviest successful attempt at his individual final. He then went on to 162 and didn't get it, so if he has been in 151 form this week, well, we're about to find out, aren't we? This to keep the group alive and to force Iraq to have to get the last lift in. That's a given anyway. And it is a good lift. And Saudi Arabia go to the top of the group. And Iraq have to get the last lift now.
And he was very fast on the chest, so even he didn't think he got it. However, he only got one red. 2 whites is all you need. Really, really great.
Really well done. Well, they've got all 3 of their lifts in. So right now, there's 1 lift left of the competition. It will be either Saudi Arabia or Iraq to go through.
A little fast on the chest. Other than that, perfect.
So it is Iraq coming in. Rasul Mohsin, one of the best around. Well, he was in action yesterday as well in one of the most thrilling finals. And to pick up the bronze medal in the 80 kilo decider and to win the total, well, he won the bronze in the total lift also. Last 3 lifts were good. Rastami, Gu and Mohsin, the 1, 2, 3. Mohsin now to win this group for Iraq. This is the penultimate group that we're seeing decided. And Iraq are there. It is a good lift. And they have won it, and they have won it by a big margin.
That was absolutely beautiful, just perfect. He probably could have put more weight on there. Unbelievable.
391 to 306. That is Iraq's margin of victory over Saudi Arabia, with Libya in 3rd spot, having missed one of their lifts. Libya would have finished on 277 had they got all of their lifts in. Not as tight as the previous group. Yes, executed that lift really well. The lines were all perfectly fine. Press, superb. Job done. On to the next round. And the next round will be the semi-finals. Means they can slip away somewhere for a little bit. Iraq 391, Saudi Arabia 306, Libya 175. That's how it has turned out.
This will feature the men of Group A. We have 3 teams in Group A. We'll start with Chile, Team 1. Chile, Team 1 is made up of Javier Ignacio Jimenez, Jorge Caranao, and Juan Carlos Garrido Acevedo, Team Chile 1. Our next team is Team Ukraine. Ukraine is made up of Konstantin Balasuk, Yuri Malinets, and Anton Kliko. This is Team Ukraine. Our third team represents People's Republic of China. Team China. Yang Jinglong.
China with Yang Jinglang, Qi Yongkai and Gu Xiaofei. I don't think we've ever seen a team as strong as that. Full of world and Paralympic champions. That's a serious proposition. Chile with Javier Jimenez, Jorge Caranao and Juan Carlos Garrido. Ukraine with Konstantin Panishuk, Yuri Babinets and Anton Kryakov for this Group A. That China team is immense. Now, we're interested to see actually what kind of weights they go for. It's not going to be individual championship winning weights, I'd imagine, but hey, you never know. Let's take a look at our referee draw for Group A.
Please welcome our technical officials to the field of play. Chief referee, Republic of Korea, is Eugene Lee. Left side referee, Yemen, Mohammed Al.
So our referees will be the center referee from Korea, Lee Eugene. Left side referee from Yemen, Mohammed El Kersh. Right side referee from Finland, Jari Laine, and the technical controller from Thailand, Priya Enakate. Technical delegate for this from Libya, Fatih Lashahab.
Spotter if you can, 135 kilos, rack height 13, 135, rack 13.
Now this is actually going to be a really interesting group because you look at that team and you look at those names and I think, wow. Yang Jinglang, Asia Oceania World Silver. Qi Yongkai, the reigning Paralympic champion. And Gu Xiaofei, Asia Oceania, Asian Games, previous world champion. That's a really, really good team.
Is that all you got? Yeah. I only got one question. So is that all you got? You go big or stronger. You push harder. Is that all you got? You climb higher, faster. So is that all you got? You put your best in the West End. No resting. Is that all you got? So you a victor. I only got one question. So is that all you got? Yeah, look at you now. So is that all you got?
So Chile will start us off. Javier Jimenez going for a lift of 135. And this will be worth 107.84. The America's bronze medalist, the Veracruz World Cup bronze medalist and America's bronze last year. Here he is. Lifted 145 in its individual final, so 135 for 107 points. And we will go to the flags. And his 3 white flags. Good lift for Jimenez, and Chile are away.
That was absolutely perfect. Straight down, locked out on the chest, drove straight up, just perfect. What a way to start Flight A. Group A.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing People's Republic of China, Yong Jinglang.
$132.5 for Yang Jinglang of China. So Asia Oceania silver last year, having previously won the bronze world silver in 2021. And silver this time by 1 kilo behind David Ektariev in a very tight final. He did win the total lift though. So he gets a coveted World Championship bronze medal. And this would be a good lead for China. Here he comes for 165. So, we're going to go to the flags, I'm sure. And those are 3 white flags from Yang Jinglang.
That was just incredible. He made it look easy. Straight down, locked on the chest, drove it straight up. Great speed off the chest to just push it straight up there. No hesitation. Nicely done.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Ukraine, Konstantin Tanasuk.
Konstantin Panisyuk going for 165. Now, there's a tail here. He was originally looking at 160. He's of a slightly heavier body weight than Yang, so he has to move up. It's not going to quite be enough to cover the the points with the Chinese. 126.73. And Panasiuk is going for this straight away. They'll trail by a couple of points here, Ukraine, not by a lot. The European bronze medalist. He gets it. Panasiuk, that should be 132 to 126. Well, there you have it. There it is. He's made it work. He's made it work well.
But with the body weight difference, Young of China got.
He had lifted 170 in his individual final, finishing 5th in the total lift.
It's just a nice lift, straight down, locks it out on the chest, racks it straight up. Nicely done.
Right now, China leads 132.50. Boulders leads 170 kilos. Rack height 13, 170.13. Thank you. The bar is ready. Representing Chile, Jorge Caranel.
So we go into the second round of lifts. And this is Jorge Caranel. And he's going with 170. There's definitely, with the smaller groups, a different dynamic. Obviously, so many teams wish to be entered this year. They've obviously felt it would be better having a runoff of a series of short groups as opposed to a very, very long group stage. It still would have been interesting to see the jostling for the top 4 places to get into the semi-finals. This is really interesting too. 125 for Caranel. This for 233. And Caranel, of course, is a brilliant competitor. He has shown that again today. The former Pan Am champion, the 3 in a row America's champion. And that's all grand. Jean-André Echeverria, his coach, will be satisfied.
That was absolutely perfect. Just flawless. Straight down, locked on the chest, rocketed back up. Nicely done. There it is.
Yeah, Caranel, you'll remember, is in a real battle with Juan Carlos Garrido, who was his teammate here and obviously his teammate generally, in order to qualify for the Paralympic Games in the same division. They both can't. It's only one per country in, different for the Pan Ams, as Ki Young Kai comes in. This is worth 129.74.
That's a good lift.
Yo, 129 points in the bag. And China open up a very strong lead in this group. 262 to Chile's 231.
That was just perfect. Straight down, on the chest, long enough time to have a discernible stop. Rocket straight up, locks it out. Very nice.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Ukraine, 25 kilos. Yuri Babinets.
So again, Ukraine are going to have to go big in this. This is Yuri Babinets now. Ukraine will edge a little closer to China with this. It's worth about a point more. So if he gets this for Ukraine, it would send them up to the brink of 2.57. Yuri Babinets going for 205 kilos, which is worth 130 points. European champion, almost got a European record. 2:11 he peaked at in his individual final. He then went for 2:21, European record, which he didn't get. Final was yesterday, but he's producing the goods, and look at that. There's 5 points between them. It's going to go down to the final lift. This is going to be a real tight one. And Ukraine will have to try and engineer that they go last so that they can work out how many kilos they need to convert into points, to convert into victory.
Absolutely perfect. Straight down, locked on the chest, rockets back up. Fantastic positioning on the bench. Shoulders just dug in, buttocks dug in, legs dug in. Nicely done.
Spotter loaders, please, 170 kilos.
It's good and tight.
170. Rack 12.
China are holding off Ukraine for now. Anton Kryakov will have their final lift. When Carlos Garrido is going now for 170, which is worth 123. He won the tussle with Jorge Caranao this week, but it will continue between the two teammates. They've found themselves, they've ended up in the same weight division. 123 it is. And remember, everybody's been re-weighed this time around for this event. Separate weighing for the individual final and the team, which I understand is a new thing. Maybe it's perhaps the duration of the competition. So the America's champion going big and having to go big. Carlos Garrido to put Chile in front in this final round. The first to go, he has done that. Ah, that's so good. 170. He has won team medals before, but this time Chile have just been outflanked. Now, in saying that, China and Ukraine could both miss their last lifts. Chile could still go through, but he's had a really good competition and a good week and a positive week.
Just a great attempt, just flawless. Straight down, locks out on his chest, blows it up, and holds it tight at the top. Nicely done.
And it paid off. So China are currently on 262.24. This lift is worth 135.36. Now send them to 397.6. And by the way, don't make the presumption that just because 2 digits are on screen, that's what it goes down to. It goes to infinity. So it may not be reflected in the first 2 points after the decimal. Anyway, he thought it was good key, and he's right. That was a great lift by Gu Zhaofei. 205, so China progress high in the scoreboard to 397.6.
That was honestly unbelievably fantastic. Really interesting how he gets strapped too. He is very, very specific with the coach. He wants his body straight and exactly in the middle of the bench. If you watch over the week, so many lifters are sideways. He wants to be exactly straight, and that aligns him with the bar and helps him drive from his arms through his spine all the way up. Really nicely done.
Well, Gu Zhaofei won his silver medal in the 80 kilo final, going up to 231. That was 205. He might have wanted to add a few more kilos onto it. The reason for that will become obvious in a few moments. Anton Kryakov is on the way, and he's aiming for a lift of 242, which is worth 141.2.
Thank you, that bar is loaded. Ukraine, Anton
Which would see China edged out again by fractions. Now, he was going for 245 for a lot of that, which would have given them comfort of a few points. Go on, take a good, there, yeah, go on, yeah. He's well awake now. So 245 would have given them a good margin of victory. 242 gives them just the slightest margin of victory. So if he gets this, they end up on 398.3. They'll have won by just about 0.7. They've obviously had the calculators out, and it is only the group winners progressing. So there's no backdoor for the best runners-up or any runners-up. And China, with an immensely strong team, did not go for high enough lifts, and they will only escape if this is not a good lift. Kryakov 242. And Ukraine have made it by 2-1. That was impressive, and that is victory for Ukraine. 398.3 to China's 397.6.
Talk about fractions. So he does on the way up stutter a little bit and almost a slight up and down. That's why he gets the one red, which is press. Either way, he got 2 whites. He goes through, and they win by fractions.
This is the men's team event from the World Paralympic event in
398.34 for Ukraine to China's 397.6. A new group stage in this Powerlifting Team Championship. Well, we've had a couple of the groups that have gone down to the final lift like that. If you get it, you win by less than a full point.
features Team Iraq versus Cuba. Match B will have Team Ukraine versus Colombia 1.
So this is the matchup for the semi-finals. Iraq against Cuba, Ukraine against Colombia. The group winners progressing. So China had outscored each other group winner, but they didn't win their group. They didn't make it.
Welcome to the men's team event. We've moved on from the heat phase. We're now on to the head-to-head. Our first matchup faces two teams, Ukraine versus Team Colombia 1. The first one will be Team Ukraine versus Colombia 1. Our second one will feature Team Iraq versus Cuba. Let's meet Team Ukraine. Team Ukraine made up of Bastian Tefarasu, also Yuri Kavines, and Anton Krayuko. Team Colombia 1 is our other team facing off against Team Ukraine.
Ukraine got the chemistry right and the calculations right, and they are in the semi-finals against Colombia. Konstantin Panasiuk, Yuri Babinets, Anton Kryakov for Ukraine. Colombia with Brian Balanta, Francisco Palameke, and Egline Mena.
That's Team Colombia 1. Head-to-head, that's Match B. Match B goes in just about 3.5 minutes time.
So the first semi-final being prepared. The second semi-final will be between Iraq and Cuba.
Match A features the two teams of Team Iraq versus Team Cuba. Taking a look for Team Iraq. There we go. Team Iraq's made up of Muslim al
So the other semi-final, Iraq against Cuba.
And Rasul
And Iraq are taking it easy.
They're battling in this match versus Team Cuba. Al-Sudani, Al-Karki, and Mohsen. Team Cuba is made up of Emmanuel Rodriguez.
So Cuba, Onega Drake, Emmanuel Gonzalez, and Jesus Cuevas.
Jesus Drake Vega. That's Team Cuba. They will be in the match A. We can direct your attention to the big screen. We're going to make our selections.
So Cuba prepared. Just all sorted. Just take it easy while they're warming up and limbering up for their semi-final, which will be imminent. Referees draw happening now.
Our referees for this session. Chief referee, Yemen, Mohammed Al-Karish. Left side referee, Kazakhstan, Natalia Sihan.
Well,
Right side referee,
if they were getting comfortable,
Ilyana Ananka. Technical controller, Thailand.
can't be now. Mohammed Al-Kirsh, Natalia Sky, and Ilyana Oraka are our three referees for this first semi-final. Ukraine against Colombia.
So is that all you got? Yeah, look at you now. So is that all you got? Take a look at you now. So is that all you got? Look at you now. Is that all you got? Yeah, I only got one question. So is that all you got?
So we are all set to go for Ukraine against Colombia. Panasiuk, Babinets, and Kryakov in that order for Ukraine. Balanta, Palameke, and Mena for Colombia.
Track 91, the bar is being prepared, and we're all ready to start this in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Are you ready for Powerlifting? The bar is loaded. 165, representing Ukraine, Konstantin Panasyuk.
So Konstantin Panasyuk coming first of all. He's aiming for 165 kilos, and that's worth 126.73 points. Points mean prizes. So Panasyuk, 165, set a really good foundation, and I think one of the secrets for Ukraine edging out China in their group was they were going really high on a lifter by lifter basis. And that is a good lift by 2-1. So that's him away and clear. And Ukraine have their foundation.
Yes, it was a good lift. Comes down, tight on his chest, drives it right back up. Not sure he had full extension on the right side. That might be why he got that red light. Other than that, it looked beautiful. 2 whites, and he's punched it through.
Second bar is ready. Representing Colombia, Brian Balanta.
So Brian Balanta is coming now for Colombia, 175, which he lifted in the group. Trying to do it again. This is worth 128.075. Remember, we go to as many decimal points as possible. Don't be deceived into thinking it's just 2 decimal points. America's silver last time out in St. Louis, and bronze the time before that in Bogota, and a team bronze with Colombia at the last World Championships.
One minute.
So slight lead, be by about 1.3. It is Brian Balanta for Colombia. It's a solid lift that he's put through here. And it is a good lift. So Colombia lead 128 to Ukraine's 126.74.
Colombia has 128 points.
This was just fantastic. Straight down, tight on the chest, right straight back up. Twice in the morning so far. Nicely done.
A minor difference right now between Team Colombia 1 and Team Ukraine. We're waiting for their submissions for the next event. We have them now. 180 kilos, please. Rack height 12.
Colombia going for Paralympic next, and 180. So he is matching his previous path.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Colombia, Francisco Paralympic Palacios.
180 for Paralympic. So he's aiming for 119 points here. Pan Am champion. Bronze before that. No mark in the previous America's Championship. 4th in the Paralympic Games. The Americas and Pan Am champ. New Legends American record. Finished 5th in the 80 kilo final. It was competitive. It was compelling. He's trying to pull off something similar here. Got 180 in the group stage as well. And this for 119 points. And he has got it.
Just remarkable. He looks like he's a little tired, but he just drove that home. That was incredible. Straight down, tight on the chest, rockets it back up, locks it out, and moving on. Nicely done. Just beautiful. Straight up, locks it out. Great.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Ukraine, Yuri Babinets.
So Yuri Babinets going here for 205. Now this is worth 130 points. Colombia have stayed on the path that they had last time. And Ukraine are as well. This would be a considerable lead. He's going for 205 Babinets. That's worth 130 points. And I said last time, this actually compares quite high to his own individual final. They'd lead about 20 after this. They'd be on 257. So they'd be leading by 10. So not too huge. Getting the lifts in first is the vital thing. We're going to go to the flags for this. And it is 2 white flags. And Babinets, who lifted to 11 in his individual final, where he finished in 4th place, gets it. Oh, tight.
That was great. Straight down, tight on the chest, locks it back up. A little slow on the right side on the way up. Looks like it locks out evenly. Perhaps the one referee that gave him red thought not. Either way, 2 whites and he's in.
Venus numbers in 215 kilos. And he will be first. 215 kilos, rack height 18, please.
We're still quite tight, 10 points. Colombia are going to have to go really big, though, in this. We know how big Ukraine can go. Eglain Mena is looking at 215, and that's what he did last time for 124 points.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Colombia, Eglain Mena.
If he gets it, Ukraine will be forced to finish out. Give them a final score of 371, which will still give Anton Kryakov a decent target to aim for. So third lift for both countries. This to wrap up for Colombia, this to put them ahead, and for Ukraine to have the finish. Oh, Glenn Mena. Of course, it was vital for Colombia as well. Missed this in the rout. We'll go to the flags. Three white flags. Good lift to Glenn Mena. And he got there. And Colombia have set a decent tally.
That really was fantastic. Just straight down. Holds it tight on the chest here and just rockets up. A little quick on the chest, but still motionless. Nicely done.
Well, Anton Kryukov now has impressed, and he's looking to wrap up on 2:20. And it puts him in a situation where this should be enough to put them through. I dare say it will be. It's 128.377 for Ukraine. They would actually win by something like a dozen points. Now, 2:20, can he get this? Well, he got 2:42 to edge out China in the group stage. China, huge casualties. There was an open draw. That's why both Colombian teams were drawn together. That's why two massive powerlifting nations of real strength, such as China and Ukraine, were drawn together as well. So Kryukov for a spot in the final. That is a good lift. 128 points added onto their tally, and they win by 385 to 372. So Ukraine progress.
85-51 and moves on to the gold medal. Colombia 1 will face off in the bronze medal with 3.
There are times when you have to vary it. Colombia didn't really. And it is Ukraine who make their way through.
And that was just a perfect lift. They knew who to bring out last, that they knew they could rely on as their anchor person to just bring it home, and he sure did. Nicely done. Great work.
Loaders, please, 132 kilos, rack height 3, 132, rack 3. Thank you, the bar is loaded. We'll start with Cuba and Emmanuel Gonzalez Rodriguez, 132 kilos.
So we go into the second semi-final. Cuba against Iraq. Cuba, starting with Emmanuel Gonzalez. They'll continue with Jesus Cuevas and finish with Onege Drake. Iraq will start with Muslim Al-Sudani, then Ahmed Al-Kaki, and they will finish off with Razul Mosin. 132 kilos for Emmanuel Gonzalez. He started with 140 in the group stage. Got that. He's electing not to do it now. 132 he's going for. 116.34. That is a good lift. And Emmanuel Gonzalez sets a very good foundation.
155 kilos, rack height 7.
Just a really nice attempt, brings it down, locks it out, drives it straight home. Really nicely done. Beautiful.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Iraq, Muslim Al-Sudani.
So Muslim Al-Sudani up next. 155 kilos here. He lifted 165 in the previous round. Going for 155, which is worth 131.37, which would give them a lead of it's about 15 and a half. There you go, Muslim Al-Sudani. Lift of 155, so it's 131 to 116 is the lead for Iraq, and for an opening round, that is really solid.
Just drives up, really nice, absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Of Iraq versus Cuba in the men's head-to-head matching. The winner will go on to the gold medal match and face Team Ukraine. The loser faces Colombia 1 for bronze. Loaders please, 150 kilos. Rack height 13, 150, rack 13.
So they're getting their second rounds of lifts sorted out.
Thank you, the bar is loaded.
So Cuevas is ready for Cuba, going for 150. Oh, last time he went for 175. Now he's going for 150. This is going to be worth 104 points. It would put Cuba ahead. This is worth 104 points. The previous
1 minute.
effort in the group stage was 122. This is a bit of a giveaway in terms of points. And only realistically, if both lifts are successful in this round, and Cuba's is, but if Iraq's also is, then basically they have to hope that now Iraq miss one of the last two off the back of not going for the same mark as last time. Could have been a little twinge picked up
Straight
in the
down.
warm-up area, of course.
Locked out, straight up. These lifters are putting on a show today of perfection. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was a drop of around 20 kilos from his previous attempt. As we go to Iraq now, and Ahmed Al-Kaki for 175. So if he gets this, this will be worth 127. I mean, it may have been the case with Cuevas that they'd actually looked at it and said, right, well, our previous one was worth 122, and they're going for something which is worth 5 points more. That goes down to Mosen against Draki. If he gets this, Al-Kaki, Iraq will lead 2-5-9 to Cuba's 2-2-1. Ahmed Al-Kaki going in strong. And we're going to go to the flags.
Good.
It has worked out. Good lift. Well, Al-Kaki is making it work really well, and Iraq are doing the same now. That is a big lead, 37 points. Good lifts all the way so far.
Just a terrific setup, chest up high, big back, drives that bar right off the chest, just straight up into the air. Nice stop, fantastic, just fantastic.
That's a difference of about 37 kilos, 150 kilos now, loaders. 150, rack.
So Drake is at the moment looking at 150. That's going to be worth 97 points for Onager Drake.
Thank you, the bar is loaded. 150 kilos.
He lifted 176 last time. Cuba are concentrating on the bronze medal match. What do you think? 114 points he got last time, and this is aiming for 97. You know, all three have gone for lower weights than they did in their successful group stage. So they obviously feel they would have a much better chance in the bronze medal match than in the gold medal match, where if you lose that you get a silver medal. Perhaps they just thought that if they extended themselves way too much against Iraq, worst case scenario, they get beaten anyway, and then they're completely flaked out for the bronze medal match and they're not tuned up for it. Maybe that's the thinking. That's how it's coming across to me anyway.
I think you're right, Will.
150 for Onager Drake. This will force Iraq into having to get the last lift anyhow. Going to go to the flags again. And that is 3 whites. And Cuba wrap up. It is 3 out of 3. But now they will be facing into a bronze medal match against Colombia, should Iraq not get the last lift in.
190 kilos.
Seems to be what they were aiming at.
This just looks great. He comes down, tight on the chest, straight up. He does look a little fatigued.
Thank you, the bar is loaded. Iraq, Rasul Mohsen.
Well, they've been successful all the way through. They've got all their lifts in, 3 out of 3, but a marks considerably lower than what they had done previously. So, Russell Mosen to no fanfare coming in for Iraq, and this for a lift of 190. $126 points this will be worth, and this to send them into the final. He started at 210 in his individual final. Went up to 226. He can lift a lot heavier than this, but he does not need to. That's job done. Russell Mosen. The only formality left are the flags, which will come now. And Iraq into the final. They will face Ukraine. That looks like a battle and a half. Iraq finish with 385.24. Iraq and Ukraine both scored 385 in their semi-finals.
By a score of 385 to 24 to Team Cuba's 318.
So Cuba against Colombia in the bronze medal match, and Iraq-Ukraine in the final.
Just beautiful, straight down, great setup, no straps, just drives it home. Really nicely done.
Bronze medal match is scheduled in about 10 minutes time.
Oh, never mind, it's all right. Iraq 385 to Cuba's 318, and Iraq through Al-Sadani, Al-Karki and Mosen got all the lifts in. Cuba through Gonzalez, Cuevas and Drake. They are conserving their energy for the bronze medal match, which is coming up very shortly indeed, and that will be between Cuba and Colombia. So the bronze medal match, Cuba, Drake, Gonzalez and Cuevas. For Colombia, it's Balanta, Mena and Palomeque. And for the gold medal matchup, Iraq, Mosen, Al-Karki, Al-Sadani against Ukraine, Kryakov, Babinets and Panisyuk. And they are coming up next.
welcome to the 2023 World Paralympic Championships. This is the men's event bronze medal match. Please welcome the athletes. The bronze medal match features head-to-head Team Cuba versus Team Colombia. On Team Cuba, Emmanuel Gonzalez Rodriguez. Team Colombia 1, Brian Volanta. Team Cuba, Jesus Enrique Cuevas Cisneros. Colombia 1, Francisco Palameque Palacios. Team Cuba features audio, Jesus Drake Vega. Versus Team Colombia 1, Egleen Mina. Cuba versus Colombia 1 for bronze.
So the bronze medal match will be first to come up. It is Cuba against Colombia.
In the gold medal match of the men's team event, Team Ukraine versus
And this will be the
Team
pairing
Iraq.
for the gold medal match. For Ukraine, Anton Kryakov, Yuri Babinets and Konstantin Panisyuk. Against Iraq, Rasul Mohsin, Ahmed Al-Khaki and Muslim Al-Sadani.
Team Ukraine, Konstantin Panisyuk versus Team Iraq, Muslim Al-Sudani. Team Ukraine, Yuri Babinets. Team Iraq, Ahmed Al-Khaki. Team Ukraine, Anton Kryakov. Team Iraq, Rasul Mohsin. Ukraine versus Iraq, gold medal match. Please direct your attention to the screen behind the stage as we select our technical officials.
So now the referees for the medal matchups with the bronze medal match to come first.
Please welcome the bronze medal officials. Chief referee will be Jari Laine, Finland. Left side referee, Eugene Lee, Republic of Korea. Right side referee, Malaysia, Nosia Mohammed.
So it's Jari Laine of Finland who will be the centre referee, the chief referee for this. Lee Eugene of Korea on the left, and Nosia Mohammed of Malaysia, the right side referee. Rina Kenakate is the technical controller for this competition from Thailand.
Spotter loaders, please take your positions on the field of play.
So now, feverish readiness. Iraq and Ukraine preparing for the final, and Cuba on a Gudraki just make out. Cuba will be going a lot higher. You can be sure about that in this bronze medal match.
Is that all you got? Yeah. I only got one question. So is that all you got? You go big or stronger. You push harder. Is that all you got? You climb higher, faster. So is that all you got? You put your best and the rest in. No resting. Is that all you got? So you a victor. I only got one question. So is that all you got? Yeah, look at you now. So is that all you got? Take a look at you now. So is that all you got? Look at you now. Is that all you got? Yeah, I only got one question. So is that all you got?
And so bronze medal matchup to start with between Cuba and Colombia. And they're actually both going to go considerably higher than what we saw, certainly in the semi-finals. That has to be the case.
This session, the bronze medal match, starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Cuba versus Colombia. Are you ready for Powerlifting? Loaders, please. 142 kilos, rack 3. Thank you.
So Gonzalez will be first to go for Cuba, and it will be quite a leap up in comparison to what he's previously gone for here. So it's 142 kilos. He went for 132 in the semi-final. This is worth 125 points to try and get Cuba a very solid foundation in this bronze medal match. And as usual, don't be distracted by the weights that are being gone for here. They're all being converted into points through the coefficient. So the Colombian weight through Balanta in this opening round is going to be 35 kilos heavier. But it's only going to be worth 4 points more.
1 minute.
Manuel Gonzalez is in the 49 kilo final. Here he is. That is a good lift. It's 2-1 in his favor. Stop sequence was the one red, but that's absolutely fine. And so,
Voters, please, 177 kilos, rack height 9, 177.
Gonzalez successful with his first attempt for Cuba, the youth Pan Am champion.
Lockdown in the chest, straight up. It really looks good. Somewhere there's a stop sequence issue. I would imagine his head must have moved because the bar looked perfect. Nicely done, and he punches it through, gets a good attempt. 2 whites.
Thank you, the bar is loaded. Representing Colombia, Brian Balanta.
As we go on, it is Brian Balanta going for 177. So now Colombia kept the same path for the group stage and for their semi-final. Balanta went 175 both times, but this is for 177 and it's worth 129 points, 129.5. So, a lot on this for Brian Balanta. It would be a lead of 4.4 for Colombia against Cuba. So Balanta, a clean score all the way through, and it continues to this bronze medal match, this very, very competitive bronze medal match. This looks like it's going to be very, very tight.
That was really terrific. Just brought it down, nice and tight on the chest, drives it up. This young man is incredible. Fantastic.
Gonzalez, I will point out, went heavier than he has done already in the competition, and Balanta has as well. In terms of the semi-final, Colombia scored 372, same as in their group. Now, in the group, Cuba scored 360. So Cuba have to move up a bit in a lot of their attempts. And they are doing that. Cuevas 175.
Thank you, the bar is loaded. Representing Cuba, 175 kilos, Jesus Cuevas Cisneros.
This is worth 122.39 points. So both Cuevas and Palomeque are sticking with what they did in the group stage, and obviously Palomeque carried that on into the semi-final, and Cuevas is going for 3 more points than Palomeque is, so that would bring the margin down to 1.5. If both are successful, Colombia would still lead, but that gap would be tightened, and then they would both have to start thinking severely about what their last attempt would be and how far they want to push their men, how heavy they want to go. Oh, what a wonderful lift. A wonderful lift by Jesus Cuevas. 175 kilos, converting to 122 points.
That was really just remarkable. Brought it straight down, no hesitation, drives it straight up. Nice, tight stop, not too long, conserving his energy, straight up for that drive, straight up. Nicely done.
Well, this is the best of the team competition. So 180 for Francisco Palameke, and again has to get this. All of the calculations are presuming that the marks will be made. If they're not made, then the trapdoor opens basically. If he gets this, Colombia would be back in front, but only by marginal quantities. So Palameke, this to put it up to 119.3. So they'd be on 248. Looking to keep that straight. 180 is a step on what he's already done, but it is a good lift for him. And you'll see now how tight it is. 248.86. The Cuba's 247.55. And Jefferson, the national team coach, is more than pleased with that great effort by Francisco Palameke.
Just sensational, straight down, drives it up. You could see on the right side he's fatigued, but he keeps fighting to keep it aligned with the left and lock it out perfectly. That was such a fight to keep that right side aligned with the left. Nicely done.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Round 3 begins.
So Onika Drake is going for 177 kilos, and that is worth 114.94. Comes down to the final shootout between Drake of Cuba and Mena of Colombia, and who's going to make it? Critical moment for him. Has to get the lift in, that's the thing. So much internal responsibility. The thought of your teammates. That is a brilliant lift. So Colombia forced to lift it out. Cuba go up to 362.
That was just remarkable. You could see he was so tired, but also just drove it up and just kept fighting off the chest. You see this right side, he's shaking, but he just drives it straight up and locks it out. Unreal. Fantastic. Just fantastic. Nicely done.
Mina, Colombia.
Colombia can win the bronze medals here. Egline, Mena, they're well watched, well supported. Jessica Ferrero included. 124 points this will be worth from Mena, and he's made it already in this competition. And if they get this, they go on to 3-7-2, and they would win by 10 points. So this for victory and to claim the bronze. Colombia have pitched this very well. They could have gone a bit heavier even so in the semi-final, but Ukraine with their last man Kryakov could have gone way, way heavier. And that would have got them the win, you imagine, anyhow. But Colombia set to get the victory now in the bronze medal match. And we will find out through the flags, white or red. Colombia win the bronze medal match. They beat Cuba by 373 to 362.
Is your bronze medalist. Team Cuba, 362.49, will finish in 4th position.
Just an outstanding lift here. And he makes it look easy, and you know he must be exhausted by now, but he just drives it out, locks it up, gets up and says, "Where's my chair?" Nicely done.
It has paid off very well for Colombia. That was a super performance. Not a lot between them in the end, as you can make out from those scores, 11 points between them. Colombia pick up the bronze medals.
160, rack 7, please.
So now, the gold medal match. Ukraine versus Iraq.
Thank you, the bar is loaded. Representing Iraq, Muslim Al-Sudani.
Muslim Al-Sudani for Iraq. Iraq with that big win over Cuba, 385 to 318 in the semi-final. Muslim Al-Sudani alongside Ahmed Al-Kaki and Rasul Mosin, and I can tell you they're adding already 5 kilos on for Al-Sudani than they had in the semi-final victory, and he got that 155. This is worth 135.6. He's come through at 160, this for 135 points. The flags will let us know.
Good.
There you go. You'll observe the referees looking down at their shoes. No influence. No copying homework. Anyway, they put their scores in earlier, so if they changed, we'd notice.
I would have been surprised if it was anything other than 3 white lights. I mean, that was just perfection. Straight down, touches, locks out. I think he knew it was perfect. Well done.
Konstantin Panisiuk will be next, and likewise he's stepping up from the semi-final, which was 165. Panisiuk here is going for 168. Now if he gets this, it's worth 129, which is just behind Al-Sudani's points tally of 135. Panisiuk has had a competition to remember as usual, of course, for Ukraine, and this to extend it. Punching through. 170 he went in his individual competition in the last round, so he's come here at 168. I'm just beginning to wonder if some countries will feel, right, we'll treat it like your individual competition, but we'll do it on a competition round by round basis, because you only lift once per round. He got it.
Nice attempt, straight down, locks it out, straight up. Nicely done.
Strikes me that there was a slight element of relief.
Loaders, we need 180 kilos.
135 for Iraq, 129 for Ukraine. And there's just a bit more uncertainty now because they're having to go higher.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. Representing Iraq, Ahmed Al-Karki.
Al-Karki coming out for 180. Last time it was 175, so they are all upping their game compared to the semi-final, and they are really having to. This is going to be worth a total of 131.2. Short advice being taken. The Asian Youth Games champion previously, West Asian Games. Silver in 2019, the man from Baghdad. It's a real major step up in terms of lift quality. He's got the lift through. That is a good lift. Al-Karki, 131. So that's 266, and Iraq have requested no music coming on for any of their lifters. But at the moment, they're singing their own tune.
Brings it down, nice and tight, brings the back up to the bar, and locks it out. Well worth it to tell coach exactly where he wanted it when he got spotted, rather than unracking it on his own. That alone, you can tell he's fatigued, to have the coach bring it out for him. However, smart, conserve energy. Nicely done.
Thank you. The bar is loaded. 208 kilos. Representing Ukraine, Yuri Babinets.
So Yuri Babinets comes next. He's lifting 208, which is worth 132 points. So they would just still be slightly behind Iraq at the end of this, but making progress. Babinets lifted 205 in a semi-final, going for 208 now, so this is worth 132. And they would go on to 261.2. Babinets already. Well, Babinets is good. And Babinets brings Ukraine to within a couple of points of Iraq. It's Iraq 266, Ukraine 261, and now it gets interesting for the last round. Kryakov's going to have to go a bit heavier, I think, and Mosen certainly so.
Just beautiful. And actually 3 whites. In the semifinal, he only got 2. So he cleans up that error from the semifinal, locks it out, and just drives it home. Nicely done.
So Mosen lifted 200 in the group stage, 190 in the semi-final as Cuba were taking the foot off the pedal. See, they've got the calculators out now. Mosen going for 210. That would be worth 140 points all told.
Rack 15. Mosen's lift is in. It will be first.
So yeah, Mosen's going for 139 and a half.
Makes sense that he would have a lesser weight. 210 kilos. Rasul Mosen, Iran.
And that means Ukraine's target for a lift would have to exceed by 5.5. So Kryakov, let's tell you in a moment what he's trying to do. Kryakov at the moment is 240, which would not be enough. Because that's 140 points, and Iraq here are going for 139. Ukraine need to go for basically 144. So Kryakov would probably have to go to 250. I know he's lifted heavier than 240 in this competition. 242 in the group stage. Ukraine edged out China. They had their calculators out. I don't think they can do I don't think they're going to stick at 240. Surely not. Anyway, we'll see. Mosen has to come in first. I think they can redeclare. They have to wait and see if Mosen gets it first, and if he doesn't, then Kryakov will do his 240. If Mosen does do this, then Kryakov's going to have to go about 250. We'll see. Rasul Mosen, first of all, bronze this week. Moving on up at 210, looking for 139 and a half. That is a good lift. He's made it work. And Iraq go close. And indeed beyond 400. 406. 215.42.
This was just beautiful. Straight down, straight up, drives it. Everything on the bench as it should be. Head, shoulders, buttocks, legs. Just fantastic.
215 kilos.
So originally looking at 240, which is worth 140 points, not enough. It would basically have had to have been 250. Kryakov is going for 215, which will not see them overtake. This will be worth 125 points. So you can calculate that yourself, that'll be 386. If he'd gone for the 242 as previous, that'll be worth 141. Then you'd be beginning to talk. He's done 242 already, and the European record is 243. And as you may remember from some of last year's championships, particularly the Europeans, if you go beyond a European record in this, you're not given a European record at all. So Kryakov said 215, that's it, we'll take the silvers, thank you very much, because Iraq have won this. Job done.
Let's draw on flags, cleans, referees.
It is flags. It's a good lift.
215 kilos.
Kryakov gets the 125 points for the 215 kilos, and Iraq take the gold, 406 to 386. They've obviously felt that it was a weight beyond which that it was worth putting Kryakov out to do.
6 points for Team Iraq.
Just a beautiful attempt, tight on the chest, straight up. He looked like he could have put more weight on, but we don't know how much more. Really nicely done.
And it's Team Columbia won the bronze medalist.
So victory for Iraq, 406 points. After Daniel Karki and Mosen getting all their marks in. Ukraine the silver through Panisyuk, Babinets and Kryakov. 406, 386. And the victory ceremony is on the way.
please welcome the medalists.
So the victory ceremony for this men's team competition at the 2023 World Para Lifting Championships. Women's competition, by the way, if you're watching live, is on in around half an hour's time. Those are the final standings. Obviously coming through different matchups.
The medals will be presented by Mr. Ahmed Al-Hamadi.
Presenting the medals here, Mr. Ahmed Al-Hamadi, the local organising committee Vice Director for these Paralympic World Championships. So Colombia edging out Cuba in the bronze medal match, 373 to 362. Ryan Balanta, Francisco Palomeque and Eglain Mena. And as is the case these days, quite rightly too, is for the coaches, Carmen Elisa Zuluaga. Jefferson Dorrego. Congratulations to them all. And now for the final, Ukraine. Panasiuk, Babinets and Kryakov it was, and then that last attempt, we're just doing their calculations, and Kryakov would have needed to have lifted a major European record, not just by 1 or 2 kilos, but by like 6 or 7 in order to have made it. And at that stage, is it worth it? Kryakov, Babinets and Panasiuk pick up the bronze medals. A 249 is what he would have had to have lifted in order to have pushed it in towards gold medal territory. European record's 243, so it would have been 6 on top of the European record, and it's a team competition. He wouldn't have been given the European record. Iraq, Rasul Mosin, Ahmed Al-Kaki and Muslim Al-Sadani, really effective. 406 as well. They were brilliant in their group. Ukraine edged out China. That was an immense scalp. And Iraq end up scoring the biggest amount of the day. So if it comes in the final, appropriate. So, at the end of it all, the team world champions are Iraq. Good job.
Congratulations to the medalists.
Iraq take the gold in 4:06. A good margin over Ukraine in the end. And basically, Mosen, I'm pretty certain actually in one of the earlier rounds, Kryakov should I say, lifted what he was, yeah, it was lifetime best, 1 kilo off the European record, 2:42 in the heat stage. That's what they had to go to in order to edge out China. He'd have had to go even higher than that to get close to Iraq in that final. And they had all, by the way, Panisiuk, Babanuts, pushed up very high in terms of the territory of what they can lift. And they ended up on 386. If Kryakov had gone again for that 2:42, they'd have ended up with 402 points, Iraq 406. And for many, a lift like that is once in a lifetime. Twice in an hour is asking a wee bit, isn't it? Women's team event is on in half an hour. We'll see you then. Take care.